Hello, Tungsten Miner here. Unlike my usual opening, I'm starting here with no new worlds to show you how to get started creating your own Middle-earth. So first we're going to call it whatever we like. I'm happening to call it that. I'm going to switch to creative mode so I can more easily show you some things. And then I want to point out that there is this Middle-earth world type that will let you just begin right away in Middle-earth, skipping the normal vanilla overworld altogether. I'm going to deliberately not choose that. Go back here so that I can show you how to get there if you happen to be playing a mod pack where you don't start in Middle-earth right away. So create new world, and we're going to wait a bit while it creates itself. All right, and here we are standing in the overworld. I can see a silverwood tree in the distance there, a great wood tree up there. I can see some of these obsidian totem things over here. So we're doing pretty well so far with our spawn point, but the really valuable thing is this pool of lava at the surface, and I will shortly show you why that is. First thing you want to do when you're trying to go to Middle-earth is get yourself some gold nuggets and a crafting table, and I'm going to take the crafting table, plop that down, and make myself a golden ring. And you know the story, right? What happens to the golden ring in the end? Well, it gets tossed in the fire. This is the ring portal. And if you manage to get close enough to it, it will suck you into Middle-earth. Now the problem, of course, is you got to toss this into some lava. So let's just take care of that, make this a little bit safer to get close to. Fortunately, this spawn happened to have a lava pool pretty darn close to where I came in originally, and so it's not that big of a deal. Alright, I think I can probably just jump right in. Not quite. Yeah. Alright, a little closer. Here we go. Entering Middle-earth. And here we are. I have landed at coordinates 0, 0, which happens to be a forest biome. Having come in, there's always a ring portal that gets created to take you back to the overworld, should you want to do that. So this is how we will get back to our origin, if we like. But when I've set this up for my server, I've not particularly wanted to have the overworld be part of it at all. So the Istari mod pack has all the resources you'll need, including ones that don't normally show up in Middle-earth. So I'm going to get rid of this portal, and we can move on. Now, unfortunately, we have spawned in a place where there's not really a lot of stuff going on as far as Hobbits and whatnot, so I'm going to explore a bit, and I'll be back with you shortly. So in my explorations, I found a great wood tree. So the Thaumcraft world spawn stuff, so great wood trees, silver trees, and so forth, do appear in Middle-earth. There's a mod in this mod pack which joins up some of those things and tells the Lord of the Rings mod where to spawn these things, which means you're not going to find great wood trees just everywhere. And in fact, it's pretty darn rare to find even a great wood tree in the Shire. So I was pretty thrilled to find this early on. Of course, you know, you have all the same problems you always do, is that these are humongous big trees, and they take a little while to bring them down. But I'm going to keep exploring and see if I can't find some hobbits. All right, at last I have broken out of the forest, and I have managed to find a little cluster of hobbit holes. So here we have a lady hobbit who's wearing, if you can see it, a ring, which means she is married probably to one of these fellows. There he is. And this maybe is one of their kids, but that's one of the many mechanics in this mod pack, that if you make a hobbit wedding ring, oh, marriage. There we go. Oops. Yeah. I'll do it over here. Make a hobbit marriage ring. well, I guess you can't. You just have to buy them. Then you can give them to 2 hobbits, and that will allow the hobbits to reproduce. So kind of like you know, standard vanilla mechanics for that thing. But you do have to find a male and a female if you want them to be able to reproduce. So this is a pretty small hobbit hole as far as they go. But you've got your hobbit crafting table. Now you notice when I click on this, I get black smoke. I haven't done anything to warrant being a friend to hobbits, and you can see at the top of my screen, I'm a stranger to hobbits. So, Lord of the Rings, no, it's alignment for me, and I'm going to set that to, let's say 25. Oh, whoops, that's right. Hobbits. Oh boy. I think I can do this for myself. Yeah, there we go. So now I have given myself 25 alignment points with the hobbits, and I can use their crafting tables. But this isn't just a regular crafting table. I can't just put any old stuff in here. So they have their own recipes, and you can see them all right here. So Hobbit oven, Hobbit crafting table, Hobbit banner, right? So this is all Hobbit stuff. And there's nothing in here that's generic vanilla Minecraft stuff, nor is there anything in here which belongs to the other various factions in the game. So if I were to travel to Rohan, I'd find Rohirric crafting tables, which can make all sorts of things that Rohirrim make and use. And if I were to travel to Gondor, if I were to travel to Mordor, if I were to travel to all sorts of different places, that would show me those crafting tables. And you can almost always, in fact always, create a new crafting table on the appropriate faction's crafting table. That's one of the recipes. But of course, you can't make that first one until you've found one. So since I start in the Shire, there's Hobbit crafting tables all over the place. I can either steal this one or make one of my own pretty easily. That should be the second recipe right here. So wool and planks. But you got to find one to propagate one, so there's no way, short of traveling to Gondor, that I could make a Gondorian crafting table. I'm wandering around here because I am hoping to have a visitor pretty soon. So I'm just going to wait until he turns up and be right back with you. One more point to throw in while I'm wandering around and waiting. All of these are pre-generated structures, and there's a pretty good look at that. The Grey Wanderer says, "Good morning to you. Gandalf has come to visit me and send me on a quest." So I'm going to right click on Gandalf, and he says, "Welcome to Middle-earth." Right click again, and now this is my first kind of quest. So this interface allows you to either accept or decline individual quests from different people, and you can see Gandalf has this gray exclamation point above his head, which means he's got something for me to do. So I'm going to accept the quest. It says he has some odds and ends for me. Okay, click him again. There we go. I've got the red book. This shows you all of the quests that you're on at the moment. You can see the ones you finished, the ones that are active, the completed ones. Eventually you can check those off and get rid of them if you don't want them. You can always abandon a quest by clicking this red X. I'm going to complete this particular one. This also allows you to hide that little indicator in the top left that shows you that you're on a particular quest. So if you don't want that thing bothering you, yeah, I know I'm on a quest, leave me alone, then you can turn it off. So I'm going to go over to Gandalf and speak with him again. He's telling me about the red book. Talk to him again. Now I need to learn to read a map. And you can see my quest indicator in the top left has changed to say press L to open the map. So I do that now, and here is the map. What we're looking at is a large place, right? So we go from the furthest west is negative almost 100,000 to the furthest east is almost 300,000. So we're talking about 400 kilometers from one end to another, and probably what, twice that distance north to south. And the part that you see that Tolkien wrote a little map about is kind of like this bit here, right? So Bilbo's adventure in The Hobbit went from here out to here and then back home again. And Frodo's journey started from here and went down along here and then back home again. But you can do a lot more, and there's a lot to explore. And all of this stuff is actually populated. So different peoples, different equipment, different structures, all sorts of different quests that are associated with these different things. The most important thing, though, to point out about the map is the fast travel system. So you'll notice some of these dots are brown. Unlock this waypoint by visiting its region. So I haven't been to Eriador, and therefore I can't fast travel to any of the points in Eriador. But you notice the ones here in the Shire are different colors. So if I click on this one, press R to fast travel to the selected waypoint. Waypoint wait time 30 minutes. So if I go there, it'll be 30 minutes before I can fast travel again. Once that timer ticks down, then I'll be able to fast travel to somewhere else that I have unlocked. But I can't just fast travel all the way down to Mordor, because you notice those are all locked out. And in fact, almost everything's locked out. I've only been to the Shire. So I have to, on foot or on horseback, travel to some other location to be able to unlock that territory. The trick, though, is that maybe I go to Bree on one trip, and then I fast travel back home again. Now I can fast travel to the Forsaken Inn. Even though I might have only gone just barely dipping my toes over the edge, I can now fast travel to any of the points that are within this little light green blob. That gets me here. I can now travel on my horse this far. Now I've got a half an hour before I need to go back, but once I've traveled over the edge, I can gather resources, I can dig a mine, I can fight some enemies, I can do some stuff other than just pressing W on my keyboard and waiting to arrive at somewhere new. So some useful, productive use of my time. And then when I'm back home again, I can fast travel to the last bridge. So I can, instead of using a horse to travel along this whole road, I can collect some resources, do some stuff, fast travel back home, and then warp forward again, cross over into this next territory, and unlock all of these waypoints. So by the time I've gotten here, I'll have unlocked waypoints as far south as Mount Maithras, and I'll be able to fast travel here, or I'll have unlocked this location and be able to travel to Lorien. It's by far the easiest way to get around. So keep that in mind as you are yourself exploring. And it seems like I've talked long enough that Gandalf has wandered off. Where did he get to? The quest giver has moved on. Well, I'll just wait, because this happens if you don't pay much attention to him, but he does in fact come back. So I'm just going to hang out here and wait for him to come back around again. But in the meantime, we can see that Grey Wanderer crossed off. This happens if the quest giver has died, or if the quest giver has decided to leave, or if the quest giver despawns. I don't think that can happen when there's an active quest, but I think if you ignore them long enough, it can happen that they will despawn. So in any case, once you've got a quest like this, there's nothing else you can do. The quest is over. So I'm just going to abandon this quest. Quest has failed. Now I've got a clear book, and I'm just going to wait for Gandalf to show up, and I'll get back to the same point in the quest again. In the meantime, I have found a hobbit who's got a quest for me. Let me grab that away. Collect 5 cakes. So if I accept this, we can see he changes to having a book over his head. And there's the Grey Wanderer again. So we'll get back to him in just a moment. Let's finish our little quest here with Gandalf. Unfortunately, he seems to have forgotten me altogether. So I'm going to accept the quest. He gives me another book. I suppose if you wanted to collect them, you could do that. Open up the book, close the book. Yep, there's the map. So what he's talking about is this control at the top of the screen. And as I move, I can see what my standing is, what my alignment is with all of these various factions. And of course, I haven't gone anywhere near any of these people, and I haven't done anything interesting yet. So my alignment is neutral with everybody. But as I say, fight for Gondor against orcs, I will get more and more alignment with Gondor, and I will get less and less alignment with Mordor. Oftentimes, factions are paired up in this way, so you wind up with problems. Now I can press up and down, and this gets us into different regions. So Harad is far to the south, and Morwaith and Taurithim, all places far to the south. Dorwinion is far to the east, and it's got its kind of enemy over there. So now we've seen all the different factions that we don't have alignment with yet. Friends, foes, areas of influence. So now we're going to open up the factions guide. So what we're looking at here is the same kind of information up here, but down here we see what our alignment is with all of the different factions in much more detail. So exactly the number, how many different kinds of things we've done. This faction does not encourage you to kill civilians from enemy groups, and you'll actually lose alignment if you do. So if you're aligned with Mordor, they don't care. You can kill Gondorian citizens all you want. But if you're aligned with Gondor, then killing, well, they don't really have them, but we'll say Rohan, killing Dunlending citizens that are not soldiers would actually lose you points with respect to the Rohirrim. You get to see a few of the ranks. You always see the next rank above what you've got currently. And then you can see who their allies are, who their friends are. So allies are loosely or strongly aligned. Friends are loosely aligned. And then mortal enemies, which is to say, if you kill these guys, you'll make friends of the hobbits. If you kill these guys, you'll make enemies of the hobbits. And then finally, we can see the areas of influence. If you are within one of these bubbles, then actions you take will matter to the hobbits. You'll change your alignment with respect to the hobbits. If you are outside of these areas, the hobbits just won't hear about it. So it won't make any difference to your alignment with the hobbits. And you can see this is just the Shire. But if we were to go and say, look at, pick one that's a bit bigger here. Okay, let's go all the way down to Gondor. And we click on this. It's a much larger area. And Gondor has so large an area that it has reduced alignment areas and full alignment areas. And it's just what it sounds like. Yes, you will gain or lose points for things in this area, but it won't matter as much as if you're in this area here. Okay, so I think that's probably about the last thing to talk about here at the moment. We better talk to Gandalf before he wanders off again. Yes, there's lots to learn. And finally, he gives us some pouches. One last chat, and we have completed our adventure. So now, if we look at our red book, we can see that one is gone from our active and is now in our completed. And if we want, we can look at the details. This is a pretty big one. And we can even say, just get rid of this. All done. Now, back to active, we got to go find some cakes. And you can always revisit exactly what it was that was said to you by clicking through on this. I don't particularly need to hear about this anymore, so I will get rid of that. Okay, what about these pouches? Well, pouches are objects that allow you to have a portable inventory, just as you'd imagine. So I can toss things in there, and now they're not in my main inventory, they are in the pouches inventory. I can even, if I have a crafting table, combine my pouches into larger pouches. So now I've got a medium pouch. Now if I look inside here now, I've got 2 rows of inventory, and as you might expect, if I combine another small pouch, I get a large pouch, which has 3 rows of inventory, and this is the largest you can get. So it's kind of handy to keep crafting these things together. A lot of different groups, hobbits and men and elves and dwarves and so forth, will give you pouches occasionally as part of a quest. So you'll actually accumulate a fair few of these things as you go along. And they are really, really useful because it's a big world. There's a lot of things to collect. And so you can wind up with a ton of stuff that you're carrying around. And the pouches are very helpful in that regard, especially because you can rename them. So my stuff. And now when I hover over it, I can see that label. So you can imagine an inventory full of pouches, and you can just kind of cycle over and see, oh, where is the one that I'm using for weapons? Where's the one I'm using for food, and so forth. There's really no downside to combining them, so I just always combine them when I get the new ones. All right, well, we've got night falling and I don't have a bed. So I think what I'll do is camp out here at my friendly local Hobbit hole and take a rest here. Good morning. It is High Day, the 23rd of Hallowmath, Shire Reckoning, 1401, and we've just woken up in a Hobbit hole. So early on in the game, probably the best way to keep yourself safe and healthy is to, one, stay in the Shire, because there are no enemies here. No hostile mobs will ever spawn in the Shire. And two, the Hobbits are both very prolific in creating food and very generous. They don't mind if you steal their food. So you can walk into pretty much any Hobbit hole all over the place and pick up whatever you want and take it with you. And since you have a pouch, cherry liqueur, you can carry along a whole lot of stuff, more than you normally would be able to. Grabbing leads, that's handy because there are in fact Shire ponies. They're not particularly fast as you would expect, but you can find saddles and leads in various Hobbit holes, so getting transportation is valuable because the world's real big and it takes a long time to get any place. This over here is a pear tree. If you break the leaves, they will occasionally drop a pear, pretty much the same way that vanilla oak trees will occasionally drop an apple. And I'm just not being particularly lucky with this pear tree here. Because I'm in creative mode, haha. Try this again. I always forget that when I do these videos. The Istari mod pack also has the fast leaf decay mod, so you don't have to wait around. Yay, got some pears. Alright, I think that is probably the last thing to chat about for now. The Shire is definitely a very nice place to begin. You can mine for any kind of ores that are found in the game. Well, I should say any of the ordinary ores that are found in the game. So iron, copper, tin, silver, gold, various gemstones and so forth, all can be easily found by mining in the Shire. Check the Lord of the Rings wiki for exact altitudes to best dig for those things, but they're all pretty easy to find. And there's no hostile mobs, and there's lots of food. So it's all pretty easy to get going with and establish yourself and kind of set yourself up for further adventuring. Yeah, so I will leave things here, and that's it for now. Talk to you later.